Homeowners Association all hands meeting.
Well, guess what? When that all hands meetings, I end up paying them out of here. I know this is better with people. That's what this is scary. No, I have my own key. Remember, I just found it. No, I'm probably going to send it soon because I don't want to be, what they're not. I'll save the pleasure for another time. And so on and so forth.
Okay, see, that's more recognition.
Yeah,
She's got any later Christmas.
Oh, I didn't bring one. I got the 90. Somebody brought the 92 to Tennessee. I've never seen that.
Hey, everybody's attention, please. Good, come on in. And hold the noise down as much as possible because we're without a microphone or anything.
First thing is sick landings, increases, fall out. Because that's all. No. Everybody hear us? Yes. Okay. So this is the members meeting. We have a couple items we want to discuss. High on the list is where do we go next? All right. The board has decided, in the interest of keeping it somewhat accessible for most people, we're not going to go to the West Coast next time. We're going to keep it middle or east. Okay? We're not taking objections. Well, hey, keep things level and moving. We've been thinking of Dallas, Brunswick, or Jacksonville. The hurricanes won't bother Jacksonville. Brunswick, Maine. We're talking VP here. Well, accessibility. Is it easier to get to Jacksonville or Pensacola? Because what we're doing here is thinking about numbers. We've got numbers going back to 2009 and the way they have diminished. Dallas was probably our last really big successful one. All right? And everybody has a nonstop flight to Dallas. That's a consideration. The other consideration is what do you do or want to do when you get there? That's, you know, nothing, you want to hang around, you want to go somewhere. So wherever we do wind up going, you know, hopefully there's something to do when we get there. So that too. I mean, Pensacola. I'd love to go to Pensacola. Well, after you're done with the Naval Air Museum, then what?
Yeah.
There's probably something there.
If you go to Jacksonville, you can watch the Jaguars lose.
Same for Dallas.
Last time in Jacksonville, we did go down to St. Augustine, and we saw the Fountain of Youth. I did sneak over and take a drink out of it. It doesn't work.
Didn't work
The
on
water
you.
was awful, so we could extend that one off. And unless there's any other really good ideas.
Nashville, Tennessee.
We talked about that in the board meeting, and it's a possibility, but how easy easy is it to get there? Is it direct flight?
There's another new dimension.
That's the consideration.
Fun City.
Yeah.
It's in Vegas.
You're gonna operate it.
I don't know if we're sure.
I like Jacksonville. Right. Las Vegas and Las Vegas, the problem with people in the state is different hotels. Because this time people are ready to go now.
What was the question?
The hotels and then it's reserved. So it's only like a half, maybe do it in September. They've changed and all that.
We take a little arch ride.
Yeah, they got the arch and the gardens.
But Anheuser-Busch has a fantastic tour.
It used to be Budweiser.
Free samples? Free samples?
Still got free samples.
So, like Dallas is central. Sorry, I'm loud. If you ain't ordinance,
You ain't shit.
so Dallas is central. The St. Louis, that one's another one that's central that just didn't come up during the board meeting, but we didn't want to get too many spots, too big. If we just said, hey, where we want to go, we get 50 different answers. We ought to go to Portland, so I don't have to do anything except for drive downtown. But, so Dallas works because it's that central spot. Brunswick, if we can tie into NAS Brunswick's already existing reunion, there's a bunch of other P3 and Neptune guys who you served with that are gonna be there. So, somebody else may have gone West Coast to East Coast. We know the West Coast is better, but somebody may have gone to those poor East Coast squadrons.
23.
And then Jax got beat out, I thought Pensacola too, but Jax is better, there's more stuff to do in Jacksonville, Florida than there is in Pensacola, Florida. So
In between hurricanes.
if we narrow it down to those three, let's pick from one of those three.
I like Brunswick. The thing that I know about
Hey, sailors, let's be quiet so we can hear.
we like to do these in October, which is fine, but you got to consider the weather in October, especially when you're talking north.
Oh, yeah, if you're talking Brunswick.
Well, and here's the other one, we moved to October from the end of September. So we were doing all of these in the utter dead season, right after Memorial Day. Nobody went, or Labor Day, yeah. Nobody went anywhere, but we tried to get those of us, the people tried to get those of us who had kids at the time, space so that we could either A, bring our kids, or our grandkids were in school, or we could deal with that. That hasn't really bumped up the numbers by having it so that people with school-age children or grandchildren could show up. That hasn't really bumped it up, so maybe we could go back to that September. And if you look at Brunswick, they did it in August or September. They did their big all-squadron reunion up there.
And they have a date for that every year?
Yes.
The rationale on the date was after Labor Day, the hotel rates went down phenomenally. That was what was driving it, was we were trying to keep costs down regardless of where we went after Labor Day. And then from experience with AFR, October was better than September financially. That's the rationale we used.
Except for Charleston. This is a busy place in October.
It's because of the weather.
Yeah, the weather's gotten nice, so a lot of people come.
Yeah.
Just one thing maybe to say in favor of Brunswick is I was in that area this summer. You fly into Boston, rent a car, and you can get there quite easily. So, I'm not sure if they're flying into Brunswick.
Yeah, no. I think you got no idea. Flying to Boston.
Why not fly into Man, that's far away.
You see, the idea is to put it somewhere where people will come. That's the main thing. We're trying to think along the lines of keeping it as easy as possible. So, whatever we pick, we want to get there. But you all have to like it. Enough.
Well, if I win the lottery, I'll put a $500,000 deposit down.
Yeah, when I win the lottery, which I don't play, it will be at Barber's.
They took the plane away.
So those three choices that were made. What were the main ones? We have Dallas, Brunswick, or Jackson. And we'll have to find something to move when we get to any of those spots. The Brunswick thing was interesting. If we could coincide with that.
But somebody brought it up, Brunswick is more, of the three, Brunswick's the most difficult to get to. You could fly into Portland, or you're flying into Boston and renting a car and driving. It's definitely doable, and there might be some sort of larger transportation we could come up with, maybe. But of the three, Brunswick is A, my favorite, and B, the hardest one to get to.
What's the venue for launching and everything in Brunswick? Is this available as the other sites?
TBA.
Yeah.
See, you're asking us on a crapshoot for something that none of us have been to in the last 10 years, I imagine. But
Nobody knew anything about this either. Until you look. I mean, there's something up there, I don't know how big it is up there. The size, we had a lot of size here.
I spent time, I got friends that live up there, and I've never impressed with what they had available.
They wouldn't cater to you.
That's my view.
That's another negative for Brunswick is what's the hotel situation. We know what the hotel situation is going to be in Dallas. It's going to be plenty. It's not going to be cheap. And then same thing with Jax. I don't personally know what the hotel situation is in Jax, but it's in Florida, so I assume there's plenty of hotels in Jacksonville.
And that's a new mode of thinking we have to think of, because let's face it, I mean, it's been nothing but inflation since COVID. So, you know, they're not gonna find $99 a night hotels anymore, so we get that out of your mind. That no longer exists. So, yes, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion. Let's call the vote, hand raise between Brunswick, Dallas, Jax, and if you'll permit me, I would offer Nashville because there is stuff to do in Nashville.
What about dropping Dallas for Nashville? Because I think that would be the flip. We've been to Dallas.
Dallas, actually, the reunion that we had there was in a terrible location. There was nothing around there at all except for one little cheap diner next door to the hotel.
So I would amend that we drop Dallas for Nashville. We still vote on 3. Perfect.
So Dallas is out of the way.
Dallas is out.
Hold it down.
Ready to take a vote on those three? Let's get started at top. Brunswick. All right, studio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, this is an international election. I know some of you are voting 3 times.
We're voting for Brunswick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six so far. Six going once. Going twice. We have six. All in favor of wanting to choose Nashville as the next destination?
Holy sheep shit.
Let me make this easier. How about Jack's? I think it's
Country music.
Well, you better start listening to some and start to like that.
What's that?
Well, what I mean to say is we're thinking of after Labor Day, where the prices kind of go down, but they may have a seasonal thing that goes up. So any personal contacts would be of good information.
I got a retired SEAL Master Chief, knows Nashville like he knows his own hand.
You get to book all this stuff.
Give you all the information. Yes, sir. Is he there? All right.
One more agenda item is, our board is very thin, so we have volunteers, and I know everybody wants to take a step back when somebody asks, right? Larry does the lion's share of all the databases and emails and more than I can keep up with. But we would like somebody to at least be able to back him up, you know, if something goes wrong with us. Things happen to people. But we need somebody to step in and keep the database going. So any of you that want to is number one and are able to. Most of the information is on like a USB drive. You would have access to information if needed. So we have to have a backup for everybody. I want to see those hands go flying up. Mr. Welch, yes. Or wait a minute, we're still doing like the weekend of Bernie's, he's holding your hand up from behind, is that what's going on? Right, so Mr. Welch is your assistant.
I think I already volunteered once. I thought Chad took me out of it.
Take him out of this. I don't think I did.
You got the job unless there's an objection.
Going once.
I second the motion.
Second, done. Mr. Welch, you have If this wasn't an agenda item, well, I've got my job in the hand. Somebody left their glasses here 2 or 3 nights ago. They're still here. I have cataract surgery, so I don't need glasses anymore, but somebody probably does.
They're looking for him in their room right now.
They're still here.
I brought up one that I forgot to bring up before. So I run the website badly. As you can see, it's outdated. Is there anybody who has a friend who knows modern web technology that will help me redo this website that is archaic and out of date and
What platform? What software you use?
right now it's on WordPress. It doesn't need to be, but it's on WordPress because I don't know much else. But so it would be also great, I didn't bring up that the board, but I need somebody to kind of help clean that up and get it much better than it is. tables are all broken, nothing works, there's no photo album. It's there, we're doing better than all the rest of the squad.
Sally Keeper.
Sal,
That's what she does.
Same as it was the last time.
Now, we want to see a little more enthusiasm.
Website, none of the links work.
See what you've done yourself?
Track yourself.
Amen.
That works.
All right.
Is that your phone?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, do we?
Chad, I booted up the other day. And we no longer recognize it.
that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
That was mostly the agenda items. Does anybody have anything you want to add or say or whatever on here? Recommendations? Recommendations?
Complaints?
Yeah,
Oh, the thing we did forget. We need an after, anybody else go to the Army after the Navy? We need an AAR after this. So, do me a favor, write up what you liked, what you didn't like, who you saw, who you wanted to see, and send it to database@VP4association.com. A little paragraph email so that we can use that for the following reunions to make things better. Who you saw, who you wanted to see, what you liked, what you didn't like, and we can use that after the bill bond.
It's kind of like every time you turn around, somebody sends you a survey. Well, here's your chance to fill it out. And you have to sign it because we got to have to know who to find.
If they send me an email.
Database@VP4association.
Yes.
I brought this idea up, I've been kicking it around a while. To expand on my thought is that we write our own little impression of what we just experienced for this weekend and all that. Who we wish we could have connected with or we wanted to connect with that couldn't make it or weren't here. Remembering those that we flew with in the past that can't make it and all that. But the idea is to have that, when we come in the ready room and I see people grab cruise books because this is their first reunion, they're looking back on all that. But if we have little printouts of everybody's feelings and thoughts on the tables in the ready room, I'm hoping that would help expand our membership activities. That's my goal. Thank you.
If anyone has moved in the last couple of years or changed their email addresses and haven't sent it to me, please do. If you've been given an application to fill out, please fill it out and return it to me so I can get you entered in the database.
Al's in your database, yeah, he doesn't show up on your list online. There's like 4
Which list?
Nobody liked it.
The website list, I was trying to see who was active on the list, and I contacted several times.
I'm not sure.
On the website.
On the website, the one that's on the page.
The one that I'm going to work.
You're gonna fix that.
Yes.
Speaking of goals, what kind of numbers are you looking for these reunions?
This one had 71 members actually sign up. Now, we did lose a few people to illnesses and things like that. To give you a comparison, Dallas was 117. It was one of the better ones. Last Jacksonville back in 2011 was double digits.
Yeah. Back in Dallas, we had 134. It dropped down to 117 in Jacksonville, dropped down to 92 in Seattle, dropped down to 78 in New Orleans, down to 55 in Washington. We hit 62 in San Diego the second time we went there, and it was down to 51 in San Antonio.
That's why AFR did nothing for us this year besides put up a website. Numbers have been going down, and when I contacted them in March of last year, it's, I'm sorry, you guys' numbers are doing it. All we will do for you is set up a website, which was a little harder on some of us. We managed it. So it'd be nice to get these numbers back. That's why we want to go somewhere we can get to easily. National numbers. Any more questions, comments, snide remarks? We chose it last year in the poll. Members voted on it. I think Philadelphia was a close second. But Charleston won. That's a long story. But this was essentially the only hotel that catered to reunions, like this room and the things that were brought in, thanks to Larry. It was the only place that would allow us a room where we could bring things in. And I contacted some 24 hotels in my search. And nobody would let us do that, or they did not have banquet facilities. So this was basically the only game in town. So I hope most of you liked it. And the hotel's been very accommodating for us. They were nice enough to open the restaurant at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30 for those of us that got up early for the Forest Sunlight tour. So they've been pretty good. I don't personally have any.
I think they've been darn good, the employees and all that.
I think they have myself.
Yeah, yep.
Good restaurant and everything.
Oh, yes.
We're agreed on a place. Are we agreed on a time of the year?
Well, after Labor Day, as we discussed, whether it's later September or middle of September or early October remains to be discussed.
We were waiting for your input on your buddy who lives there and knows the.
I appreciate that, but we could narrow his coaching down to a period of time that we find suitable.
After Labor Day.
Well, after Labor Day.
After Labor Day.
Would you rather have it?
After Labor Day, before Memorial Day.
Before Halloween, August.
It's a long time, brother.
More people available in later or middle September as opposed to October. All right, well, let's get
I would just ask that if we did obviously post Labor Day is a pretty big window, but if it could be a little further away from the early part, because I'm always at 9/11 in New York City with my VFA 115 ready room. So if it was in later September, I would be able to make it.
After the 11th.
That's easy to do. So after Labor Day and before October 1st, is that narrow enough?
Oh, certain. I just thought,
Later September.
the association might vote to figure out but I'm good with what you got.
And then, there's availability and things like that, so there'll be a few more variables to work out. I mean, at least when we start the search, okay, after Labor Day and say September 30th, or thereabouts.
But if he's got something good in June, we're not going to shift. We're going to stay with this time frame.
No, September 11th, after September 11th.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, you got grandkids out of school here and stuff. Yeah, we better think that after Labor Day.
Sir?
After Labor
Better take into consideration too that in September, they have a lot of tornadoes and storms that go right through Tennessee.
The weather's kind of, you're right, but the weather's kind of, I mean, look, that hurricane that went all the way up through North Carolina area, that could happen.
I mean, then that would cut
Yeah, but I mean, it's tornado alley.
Yeah.
Nashville is not a tornado.
And September's probably a little more prone to bad weather than October.
Yeah, Nashville is not.
I know that.
So if the gentleman over there said, if it came up in June, would we switch? I think if it was for my family and my friends to come down here, it wouldn't be that big of a problem. But we do have to pick this kind of window that we go for. Can we be adjustable? I don't know. Can you be adjustable? It has always traditionally been after Labor Day, usually the first couple of weeks of September. That's where it kind of has been. I don't think it has to stay that way. We've got a year to plan out as long as we're letting everybody know ahead of time. Now, on the websites, it comes out. We just got a post on the Facebook page 2 weeks ago. What's happening? Are we having a reunion?
But
I've had a post up for a year.
no, but I think that was more in regards to the hurricane issue, whether it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it still gonna happen? We're gonna be here.
Okay, the other thing about a June time frame is, you know, a lot of people are on vacation. Kids get out of school, I mean, I don't know how the grandkids, it's gonna be more than, but that's vacation time for a lot of people.
I sent that before. It's got kids in school.
Oh, yeah, I think June's a big vacation. And then hotel rates in the summer,
We want to get the millennials, we want to get well, not even the millennials, we want to get the guys who were in the transition from the P3 to the P8. They still get kids.
Yeah, but there's
But we only had a few 90s guys.
that's where Kevin likes to hang out.
We gotta quit getting these hotels way out of the action, though. We need things closer to.
Yeah, not so far where you're flying
We got everybody
45 minutes.
flying in. Yeah, everybody's flying in, no transportation.
I know, and then you're stuck.
Like you said, this one
Like
is
here to downtown, anytime during the week. Today was one of the least traffic, but 45 minutes. Yeah. Maybe if they plan out here, they should. Block out.
there's nothing here, but what we get from this place is the ability to have our own bars.
Oh, yeah.
In New Orleans, we had to have a bartender. We had to pay a bartender. And that
Does it have to be a hotel bartender?
it had, yeah.
I was gonna say, because I'm sure it could be a bartender.
What we'll do is, you know, we'll do a time frame of kind of TBA. So we'll look at it earlier if it works. Of course, like I say, if the prices are up, vacations are on. Don't be surprised if it still is in later part of September, which is really kind of an opportune time for, I think, most of us.
Yeah.
You gotta go with the majority.
All right, I just typed in, when's the best time to go to Nashville? It says, in the spring, March to May is a great time to visit for mild temperatures and outdoor activities. Summer is the most popular time to visit, especially for country music fans. CMA, the music festival and all that is there, so that's probably not really good for us. Fall, September and October are great for fall weather and natural beauty. You can enjoy the Live on the Green Music Festival in September, or the Breakaway Nashville Music Festival in October. Winter is the low season, so you can find lower fares on flights and hotels. However, it can be wet.
It's a little cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
Not cold, cold.
So it sounds like September is really the optimum month when you think
But in
about
the
fall.
winter, there's
Yeah,
nothing.
fall's nice.
Everything.
Colors might be. Anybody else have any?
At the risk of getting shot for bringing it up, have we reached out to the P8 guys yet? No. just because they are VP-4.
They are.
We could have done that.
That's a good idea.
All right, so I have tried over the years to get to the PAO for the squadron, but the PAO changes every year. And that guy or gal never passes on anything to their replacement. So when I talked to the PAO but this was before they moved to Whidbey and got the PAs. That second lieutenant was gung-ho. He exchanged a ton of emails with me about what was happening with the squadron at, in Hawaii all the time. And then he left, and the girl who took his position is like, I've never heard of you before. Who are you?
I was just curious.
Look back in the hero section.
But yeah, it'd be great if we could get, because it has happened before where we've had representation from the squadron show up at some of our events. But I don't know with OPSEC and everything if that's
Who
going to
has to
happen.
fly into Nashville? One day. Maybe we could ask the squad, take you send them to Nashville for a weekend so we can see them. TBA on that.
Is there a military base anywhere there?
No, Clarksville. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Clarksville, Tennessee.
They got shut down, they said Memphis was too big. I got shut down.
All right, folks, thank you for your input, and I want to thank you for showing up, because this is why we're doing all this. For you to come here and tell the same lies you've been telling for years. They still sound good.
It's better this time.
I'll forget what I said 10 minutes ago.
I'd like to make a motion to close the 2024 board meeting.
I'll second it.
Second, third,
Yeah.
on the ADF.